Alright guys, today we're just adding on a little bit to what we did yesterday. I'm glad to have you here with me, and so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go over some steps to how to solve linear applications. So all we're doing is we're taking solving and we're just applying it just a little bit. So the first thing we have to do, we have to solve the equation. Look here at number 1 with me, will you? Okay, so on number 1, we have this 3x plus 1 equals 19. That is my equation, and I'm going to use it to solve for what x is, just like what we did yesterday. But then I have my expression, this 6x minus 2, and it's asking me, what does that equal? What does 6x minus 2 equal? And to find what 6x minus 2 equals, I first have to find out what x equals. So those are my steps. First, solve for the variable in our equation. Step 2, substitute the variable into my expression. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this. This 3x plus 1 equals 19. My first step is I'm going to subtract 1 to both sides, right? We've got to get rid of that 1. So I'm going to subtract 1 to this side, subtract 1 to that side. That gives me my 3 by itself. My 3x. We're going to have 3x equals 19 minus 1 is 18. And this one minus 1 just gets me to 0. So we're able to do the same thing to both sides. We're doing the inverse operations. So I have 3x equals 18. Let's get that x by itself. Okay, let's get rid of this 3. Now this 3 is being multiplied to the x. So to be able to get rid of that 3, I need to divide by 3. So I'm going to divide this side by 3, and I'm going to divide this side by 3. So that gives me 3x divided by 3 is just 1x. Got our x by itself. We did it. Now 18 divided by 3 is going to be 6. So I'm left with x equals 6. Now listen, this x equals 6, it tells me what the variable is, but it is not my final answer. What we are looking for is what is 6x minus 2. This is our big question. What is 6x minus 2? So we can take this 6x minus 2, and we're just going to take this x minus 6 and plug it in for x there. So I'm going to go 6 times 6 minus 2 equals, let's find out. So 6 times 6, of course, is 36. 36 minus 2 equals 34. So what is 6x minus 2? Well, 6x minus 2 is 34. So my answer for this is 34. So guys, all we're really doing is solving the equation, okay? Solve that equation and then plug it into my expression. All right, let's go over here to number 2. So on number 2 here, we have if 7y equals 3, what is the value of 21y over 9? Oh no, fractions. Well, if we have 7y equals 3, that's really easy to solve for. I just want to get y by itself here. To get y by itself, I need to divide by 7. So I'm going to divide this side by 7 and this side by 7. Well, 7 divided by 7 is, of course, 1. So I'm just going to have y equals 3 divided by 7 is just a fraction. I can't simplify it. I can't do anything with it. So it's just going to be 3 over 7. So that's kind of my preliminary answer. We know what my variable is. We have completed step 1, which is solve for the variable. But now we're looking for step 2, which is plug in the variable into my expression. So here I have this expression over here, 21y over 9. So I'm going to write it out. I'm going to write 21y over 9. All right, now here's the thing. I'm going to take this 3 over 7 because I know it equals y, and I'm going to plug it in for y there. So it's going to look like this. It's going to be 21 times, instead of having a y there, we're going to have 3 over 7. 3 over 7 over 9. Holy cow, what are you doing to us, Mr. Martin? This is crazy talk. We have fractions inside of fractions. Well, don't panic just yet. We can simplify the top and then divide it by the bottom, okay? So let's go ahead and let's simplify this a little bit. 21 times 3 over 7. Now there's some ways we can think about this, right? We can go 21 divided by 7 because we can simplify, we might cross reduce. Let's not do that though. Let's just remember how to multiply by a fraction. To multiply by a fraction, we're just going to multiply the tops together and the bottoms together, right? And this 21 is actually a 21 over 1. Now also remember your calculator can help you a little bit with this too, but we're trying to figure it out for ourselves. So 21 times 3. Well, that's going to be 63. Okay, so we're going to have 63 over 7. So I'm going to write that out here. Let's change colors. 21 times 3 is 63. We're going to have 63 over 7 over 9. Wow. Still we have a fraction inside of a fraction. So what are we going to do? Well, let's see here. 63 divided by 7. Plug that into your calculator if you want to, but 63 divided by 7 is 9. So we're just going to have a 9 over 9. Anything divided by itself is just going to be 1. So my final answer is going to be 21y over 9 equals 1. Okay, let's move down a little bit here. Let's go to numbers 3 and 4. So once again, we're kind of just doing the same thing. Okay, on number 3, all we're doing is we are solving for my variable. In this case, it's n, and then I'm plugging it in. Well, in this case, it's just asking what does n equal. Well, that's pretty easy, guys. If it's just asking us what n equals, then we don't even have to plug it into an expression. All I have to do is solve this equation. Now, this equation has fractions in it. How do we clear out fractions? We learned about it yesterday. To clear out a fraction, we need to multiply everything by the denominator. Well, it just so happens these two have the same denominator. So I can just multiply everything by that denominator, that bottom of a fraction, which is 2. So I can just go in here and I can multiply everything on this side by 2, and I can multiply everything on this side by 2. Okay? So let's do that. 2 times n is 2n. 2 times n over 2 is, hey look, that 2 is going to cancel out. So I'm just going to be left with n. Alright, on this side, we're multiplying this whole fraction by 2, and since the whole thing is on top of 2, that's going to cancel out, and it's just going to leave me with an n plus 1. And once we're here, it's a lot easier. Let's go ahead, let's combine like terms on that left side. So this 2n and this n are going to combine. Remember, you cannot combine like terms if they're on different sides of the equal sign. So I cannot just combine this n to go with it. We can combine these two together. So 2n and n makes 3n. Now I want to get my n's over to this side. So I'm going to minus n to both sides. That leaves me with 2n equals 1 because those n's cancel out. N minus n is 0. Okay, I have 2n equals 1. To get that n by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And remember, this is where it's tricky. 2 divided by 1 is 2. But this isn't that. This is 1 divided by 2. It's 1 over 2, or 1/2. So my answer for what n is n equals 1/2. And the great thing is, guys, is I don't have to plug it back in anything because it's only asking for n. So if it's only asking for n, hey, look, I have my answer. Okay, let's take a look here at number 4. So number 4 is a word problem, right? And we just have to know how to read out a word problem and write it out. Translate these words into math. So on number 4 it says when a certain number. Do we know what that certain number is? Not yet. We're looking for it. When a certain number, we're going to name it x. When a certain number x is increased by 4. Now whenever you see this word increased by 4, you should be thinking add, right? If we are increasing, we're going to add by 4. So let's go ahead and start writing this out. We're going to have x plus 4, increase by 4. The result is equal to, hey, that sounds like a key word, is equal to that number divided by 7. So that same number that we were just working with divided by 7. It's asking us what is the number. So the number we've already decided is going to be x, and so we're going to write on the other side that number divided by 7. So my equation that we need to solve is x plus 4 equals x divided by 7. So we have a fraction again. How do we clear out fractions? We multiply by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply this side by 7, and I'm going to multiply this side by 7. Then we just need to distribute in. 7 times x is 7x. 7 times 4 is 28. Then if I multiply this 7 in, it's going to cancel out that one there. Okay, so I'm just going to be left with an x on that side. All right, so let's go ahead and let's bring my x over to the left side. Let's bring my 28 over to the right. So this will cancel. X minus x is 0. 28 minus 28 is 0. 7x minus x is 6x. And then negative 28, it's just going to go on to the other side because there's nothing to add or subtract it to. So it's just going to be negative 28. So you have 6x equals negative 28. So all I need to do is divide. So we're going to divide this side by 6, divide this side by 6. So my answer is going to be x equals negative 28 over 6. We can simplify this. 2 goes into both these, so we could say this is or negative 14 over 3, or it could also be, if we simplify it even further, it could be negative 4 and 2/3. All right, guys, here's the thing. Any of these is right. Any of these will be acceptable. So whatever you put here, it is correct. So, but we have to understand that all 3 of these mean the same thing. Okay? All right, number 5. Number 5 is, what is 9 times y if 4 less than 3 times y is equal to 11? So this one's kind of tricky just because it starts off with this. What is 9 times y? Well, we could just put a full stop right here. What is 9 times y? That's what we're looking for. That's what it's asking us. 9 times y. It's asking, what is 9 times y equal to? Well, to figure out what 9 times y is equal to, I have to, of course, first figure out what y is equal to. So I'm going to use this second part to figure out what y is. So let's go, if 4 less than 3 times y is equal to 11. So 4 less, that means I'm subtracting 4. We're taking away 4. So we're going to put a minus 4 in here. Then 3 times y. Okay. So 4 less minusing 4 away from 3 times y is equal to 11. Okay, let's solve for y now. Let's add 4 to both sides. That gives me 3y equals 15. Let's divide both sides by 3. That's going to leave me with y equals 5. So there you have it. My answer is going to be y equals 5. But wait, hold your horses. Y equals 5 is just our temporary answer. That gives us what y equals, but this problem is asking what is 9 times y? Well, we now know what y equals. Y equals 5. So I can plug in that 5 in for y. I can go 9 times 5 equals what we're looking for. Well, 9 times 5 is 45. So what's our actual answer? Our actual answer is 45. All right. It's going to be our last one. We're just going to do number 6. I'm going to put number 7 and 8 on the notes for you. But we're going to stop the video right after number 6. And it's a good one. It's a good one to finish on because we have a fraction. We have this 2b. To be or not to be? That is the question. We have this 2b underneath our fraction that we're going to try to get rid of. So I'm going to, once again, to get rid of whatever's on the denominator, we need to multiply by that denominator. So I'm going to multiply this whole side by 2b. And since this whole side is being divided by 2b, whenever I multiply by 2b, it's going to cancel out that bottom, and I'm just going to have 4a plus 3b on this side. But since I multiplied 2b to this side, I also need to multiply by 2b to the right side. So 5 times 2b is 10b. Okay? So we have 4a plus 3b equals 10b. Now it's asking, what is the value of b? But, Mr. Martin, there's an a in here. How are we going to solve for what b is if there's an a in there? Well, the thing is, to solve for b, it doesn't matter if there's other variables. We're just trying to get b by itself. So let's get all the b's together to start with. Let's bring this 3b to be over here with his buddy. Let's bring it over to be with 10b. So let's minus 3b to both sides. And that's going to leave me with 4a equals 7b. And we are not looking for what a is. We are looking for what b is. So, to get b by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 7. And that gives me b by itself, but it leaves over here 4a over 7. You might be thinking, how can that be our answer? It still has a variable in it. Well, guys, we can get an answer that has a variable in it. We can. It's just what b equals. And whenever we're solving, what that means is we're isolating that variable by itself, even if there are other variables there. So my final answer is going to be b equals 4a over 7. All right, guys, remember the last 2 problems on the notes. If you want to go check those out, the completed notes and the empty notes are on Canvas for you. Make sure that you answer all the questions and let me know if you have any questions. All right, guys, hope you have a great rest of your day.